Doobies and Movies 36, Attack on Titan time. Lew, Ciaran, and Sim are with me again to discuss the last two episodes of Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 8, Assassin's Bullet, and Episode 9, Brave Volunteers, which are the episode names. So, yeah, starting with Episode 8. Sim, as you weren't with us last time, why do you want to give us a little breakdown of episode 8 and what you thought and what happened?
Yeah, episode 8 was it was them escaping Mali and fighting. Eren had a big fight with what's he called? Reiner. Or was gonna have a fight, but just punched him once and then ran away.
And the two kids, Gabby and Falco, were
she was on a mad one. She was just out to get anyone she could. She was so angry that whole episode.
She was almost like Eren at the beginning of the whole show.
Yeah, a lot of parallels there. And they fucking got onto the ship against all odds. And bye Sasha.
Yeah, Sasha died. So I was always trying to remember her. Like, I forget her name a lot, so I'm happy I remembered it, Sasha. And I was trying to remember who she was, and I think they showed the flashback of her stealing the meat or something on the wall from like before, and I was she was that kind of crazy one that loved food and shit like that. And they even did that in the next episode with that chef boy when she's eating his food in the flashback. But that was her trait apparently.
Yeah.
That little lobster scene was their joke.
But no, it was obviously I think it was inevitable that one of them died. I think they quite consciously probably picked Sasha because she was less important, I guess, than the others. But she was also
she was also involved from the start.
Yeah.
One of the OG 104 cadets.
I'm just gonna, while we're on Sasha hype, I'm just gonna say that her little there was one episode where it was I can't remember what season it was, but everyone was evacuating loads of the little villages. Sasha runs back and she has this little sick bow and arrow episode. And she
okay.
She's on a horse and shit. It's very memorable character.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching here and you wanna rewatch some Sasha moments, find this Lew episode. We can't quite find exactly where it is, but I personally can't remember that episode that well, but I did like it when what's his face, her mate, the guy with the shave, is it Connie? The one that was well sang. Yeah. I thought that was nice because, obviously, when we're talking about the parallels, having Gabby get vexed, actually succeed at killing someone, but it's also someone that you saw having the same almost path or parallel path to her, kind of makes it kind of hit that extra bit. In that episode then, as well, I feel like there was some arguments with Levi and Eren, if anyone remembers that.
That's just their relationship. Levi beats up Eren when he needs beating up. He dragged them all out there. He was sending letters.
Okay.
And he didn't have a response.
That's what we learned from the little Levi-Eren altercation, though, wasn't it? Was that Eren had embarked on this journey somewhat of his own accord.
Yeah, because he's kind of taken this kind of role as, I don't know if God complex or Messiah complex. Good way to discuss. I don't know. If he's kind of taken on this role that he thinks he's the one with the destiny to kind of make these decisions. I guess Levi is someone who's maybe more actually trained in military and probably has a different way of approaching things. But I think the main thing, obviously, in that episode was seemingly just that death of Sasha and Gabby and Falco infiltrating the ship. What happens to them on the ship? I can't quite remember. Do they get captured as prisoners?
Yeah, they get captured. And the other big reveal in that episode, which Gabby also gets let in on, is that Zeke is working with Levi.
Okay, yes, that was what. So, can you explain that? Because again, this show, I always need to kind of think a little bit because I always get a bit confused with this show.
So Zeke's the Beast Titan, and they obviously the Beast Titan's been in it from season 2.
And he's Aaron's brother, right?
He's Aaron's half brother, yeah.
Yeah.
And we all thought that he was, he betrayed his parents when he was a kid, and he was like diehard Marleyan. But it turns out he's been working with Levi, and plans the whole fight in the.
Which is why he was so easy to take down, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got and he got captured and taken on.
So the whole time Zeke has been planning with Levi, or just this last kind of, I guess, few years.
I think just the last few years.
Is that what's explained in episode 9?
Yeah.
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 So when they're meeting, was it 3 years before episode 8? Right? 3 years before the whole season, I suppose. And they show basically, I guess, the first plans they made. So I guess that's a natural segue into the next episode. So, yeah, Brave Volunteers is a flashback episode. It's a backstory episode about when these people, when these Marleyans, right, arrived and made kind of a pact with. So again, you got more explanations for me because I always get a bit confused.
Yeah, I mean the guys, those soldiers who led, I forget the name, who led the 2 Titans into that pit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys were ex-Marleyan soldiers who got their ship got carried by Aaron onto land, and they had the tea scene, didn't they? Where they were drinking tea and discussing the world, basically.
Like some tea, I've got tea. Would you like some tea?
Legit. But yeah, like most of the soldiers are Eldians, who are like, they're the stood-on race, as it were. Like they're the people who get fucked over, and so they're not like. They're pretty predisposed to turning on Marley as it is. And so when they get captured.
So was that guy I'm just trying to look up his name, this Yelena? Yelena? Something like that.
Yeah.
The girl with the bowl cut.
Is it a girl?
Yeah. It seems, I thought it was a guy, which is why her name confused me. So I just looked her up and it's a girl.
In this episode, this latest episode, there was a moment where someone said, I don't know if we can like trust the tall woman or something.
And she's the tall woman.
Yeah. I mean, also Zeke, over the past 3 years, presumably, has been turning soldiers in Mali that then go over on the ships. Because from the beginning of the season, we were told that there were spies in the Malian army. And they probably originate from Zeke. So
he's been taking them down from the inside, basically. A bit like the Emperor in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's I guess probably the most interesting development of the past 2 episodes. So what I didn't quite get is how much does Aaron know about Zeke? Like that's his big brother or whatever.
He knows that it's his big brother, but I don't know if he knew that he was working with Levi.
No, because he figured it out in the episode. So they had that like meeting with Pixis and that. And they said so they like worked out that Zeke had cottoned on to this thing about Titans to do with Aaron and the founding Titan. And
yes, okay, now it's coming back to me. It was only this morning.
Oh yeah.
So when they captured Zeke in episode 8, it wasn't under the pretense that I don't know if how they'd contact him before that. They hadn't really spoken, but the vibe that Levi and Zeke have is like Levi will kill him at any moment. He's waiting for Zeke to betray him, and then he's just gonna slash him.
Yeah. I mean, Levi's just like that. He was like that with Aaron in season 1. Like
Titans, bro.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because what do you think Zeke's game is then? What is his plan? Is he just playing both sides against each other? Has he got a deeper?
I think he could just be in it for LG and freedom, you know, like a lot of them seem to be. Like a lot of the Malian soldiers are in it for.
So you think it's a righteous thing, or in his mind at least?
For a lot of them, it is. I don't know if it is specifically with Zeke, but surely it must be. The fact that he betrayed his parents as a kid must weigh on him still. And having found out more about Eldio itself and Paradise Island since growing up, you'd think that he'd feel so guilty for having betrayed his parents.
It would be so sick to see him and Aaron actually have a conversation then.
Well, it's coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, although he had a baseball glove, didn't he, Aaron?
Yeah.
And Zeke's big into baseball.
Yeah, that was random as well, was it?
Yeah. So maybe they have been speaking.
That's an interesting thought as well, because again, we've whole time we haven't known this, and like we just get one insight into 3 years ago. But how many years has there been since the last season? Quite a few. So there's quite a lot of stuff we still don't know that's happened in the meantime.
I guess it's
It seems as though that they're covering their tracks insofar as like after they discover the ocean, they obviously first thing they did probably was plant Aaron out there. He goes off for a little swim, finds a ship with some soldiers on it, brings it back, asks them where they're from, kind of thing. I mean, that seems like what like as far as any plan from the Paradise Island people is concerned, like that's probably just what they did after.
Yeah, I mean, when we left them last season, you know, they hadn't ever reached the ocean before.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They didn't know the world existed. So the whole plan of Paradise Island is to just work out what the fuck's going on with the world.
Yeah.
And these Malian soldiers were happy to tell them. You know, they started building a port on Paradise Island, built trains, like modernized the place with all the knowledge that Paradise just hasn't had.
Which we knew that they did do, because obviously, was that 2 episodes ago? They fucking flew in on a Zeppelin, didn't they?
Well, in it, yeah.
You know, well, they didn't have that before. So that makes sense. You know, all the technology like they've advanced. You know, dreams they had some help outside.
Yeah.
What I want to know is
they got you lost.
Yeah, they did lobster. What I want to know is why the Malians are so interested in like being turncoat. Like, is like the whole Malian thing like that messed up?
They're all people. They said they're like they're all people who are from places that have been conquered by Mali.
True.
They've been drafted into the army. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So they're fighting for somebody. They're fighting for an institution that fucked over them and their prior lives. You know, like
so. Do you think that all is kind of leading to some general fight back against just the Malians then, as I guess?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because I don't really know if we have any particular like there's no actual like villain in this show. There's no like Malian king or like
the villain is just circumstance.
Exactly.
You know, it's history.
Exactly. So it's kind of I don't know. It seems like I don't know exactly what it's pointing towards, but I feel like because it's a circumstantial thing, it's pointing more towards like a revolution rather than like a victory at the end of the war. Kind of.
That's an interesting point, and it makes sense, I think, as a way to actually move the story on and have there be some kind of progress in the society going on. It's just choking on my words. There's a lot left to do for that to happen. Like, I know that I think the season has been very well paced so far, but there's like only 7 episodes left apparently of the whole show.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough. I think.
You think they can do that? Do you think they can have some fuck off battles whilst resolving the philosophical conflict and then having some form of revolution in 7 episodes?
Well, it's difficult because, you know, whatever the justification is, they did literally drop a nuclear bomb on a city and kill countless people. And any peace or any forward planning that comes out of this, you know, the rest of the world have been told forever that Paradise Island is full of devils, and they've just gone and done this thing. So, you know, and Gabby specifically, the reason she hates Eren Yeager isn't necessarily because of just like because he's hurt her. It's because of the impression he gives of Eldians as a race. And she thinks that they'll never be free because Paradise Island keep giving them a bad name, blowing shit up all the time.
Maybe, yeah, that's interesting.
I think it is interesting.
Maybe it's more of a case that, you know, in the end game, very important characters need to be put to rest, you know, because otherwise they can't really. There can't be a revolution, if you like, while Eren Yeager is still alive, because he's responsible for like too many people dying.
Yeah.
But that
into the Titans. I guess this is what spurred the whole fucking thing in the first place. Back then. Yeah.
I mean, all I'd say is just in terms of them getting to that point of, I guess, revolution or resolution, it's difficult for me when this idea of that, I guess, cycle of war and the cycle of, I guess, abuse and trauma and these things keep seeming to continue. And then Gabby goes and kills Sasha. So now you've got another kids that are going to have the same pursuit that Eren and them have. So as much as like it makes sense narratively for that to be the ending, it doesn't seem like that's where they're going at the moment. It seems like they keep going to the fact that this war, this life of war, seems to be inevitable for all of these people, and because like how do you stop that cycle? Some Gabby and Falco, if anyone, of these kids, or if anyone, someone like Reiner or these old boys have to, I don't know, someone who's going to be the people that go, oh, let's stop killing each other and let's change the way we live.
Who's going to break the wheel?
Yeah.
Because this was a big Daenerys moment, you know.
Yeah.
Eren calling down the firestorm on this city.
Yeah, he is a bit of a Khaleesi.
Innit? And we're all saying, you know, when we're going to break the wheel? And that was Tyrion's whole fucking get.
Yeah, literally the conversation they have in Marine. No, and there's a lot of parallels between the two shows. Obviously, you hope that, and it looks like this one's going to end a lot better, but there's a lot of parallels in both shows in terms of the conflicts being like so prevalent and ongoing and cyclical that you really have to break it in order for a new world to exist. And I don't see Attack on Titan just getting some dickhead like Bran and be like, oh, you're the king now, and just ending it like that. Like, I think that it will have a more intelligent ending than that. It's just, I just at this point don't know how they could revert it back to kind of a positive world. It seems so bleak.
Yeah.
No, in like again, I'm gonna try and ask a question about an old episode. But do you know? Do you remember if they've said anything about what happens if, say, for example, Erin dies? Like, where does the Titan go? Or, like any of
Something about the magic gets like passed down to someone randomly.
so there's like no way for anyone to actually kind of like.
Well,
For
they could
example,
eat him.
yeah, they could eat him, but like let's say that like because obviously Zeke's gonna die soon. Erin will at some point die.
Yeah.
Uh, that whole lot of them will die. But then it's the cycle is still not unbroken in that sense.
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. They better fucking fix it.
no,
It's it's situations like these that spread through generations that lead to the starting point of this show.
Another thing we haven't talked about is Annie is in a crystal of hardening. Female
Yeah.
Titan. Now, I can't remember the fucking life of me. Like, what the last
She
thing-
just got captured ages and ages ago,
how they kept it.
and they kept her to do research. I think Hange went a bit mad.
like,
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that Hange woman is crazy. She's always
Oh yeah.
mental.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
She comes
Yeah,
in with a
she's
bit of
sick.
comic relief every now and then, like in the midst of all the madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, carry on.
Well, no, I mean Sim or somebody. Like, do you know what's going on with female Titan? Because I just don't.
Oh yeah, wait, that was the other thing, wasn't it? About what Armin was telling the story to Annie or something
yeah.
in like some ice. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Armin inherited the colossal Titan power, which also inherited some of Bertholdt's memories as well.
Oh yeah,
And
because Erin asked him, and he was like, "No, nothing of note," or whatever.
yeah, but we also know that Berthold had a massive crush on Annie for like the entirety of
Oh,
the
so
show.
maybe now Armin's inherited the crush on Annie.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
Because
crazy.
he's got all those memories.
That's
And
true.
like, what are feelings if not memories?
Yeah, mind blown. That's some existential stuff. No, it's true. So yeah, maybe what now? Armin's got some romantic agendas as well.
Maybe, but he's also the most rational person in the whole show. And he still decided to buy his hand and blow up the city.
Yeah, but in his little like little chat with Annie,
Mm.
Erin would have done it any way that he could. Erin, like what actually happened, Erin would have done had no one helped him anyway.
Yeah.
Like he got everyone to help because
Yeah.
in many ways, like if they didn't help him, they'd only be making it like semi worse for themselves because he was just
Yeah.
going to leave charge and then make it look worse for them.
The other thing is, when Erin was sending the letters back, that was one-way communication. It was just him telling them stuff and then him laying a plan, and they either do it or they don't. And he's just saying, "I'm trusting you can do it." So he left them all with no choice really.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he is their most powerful weapon, and they gotta, if he's going to do something stupid, they gotta back him.
Yeah, and that could easily cause issues in itself.
Yeah, well, it has done. Sasha's dead. The whole world hates him.
On another note about Armin, I was just occurred to me the possibility that he might act on his own accord at some point. I mean, he's obviously conflicted, and I know he's obviously decided like bite his
Yeah.
kind of silent at the moment. But I don't know. It just kind of occurred to me that the nature of the ability, like the colossal titan, to essentially, like you say, like it's just like it's a H bomb, isn't it? And like you cause like quite an intervention with just transforming alone. I wonder, what, how many times he's left to transform in the show, and like for what reason, and whether that might literally be to, like, stand in the middle of a battlefield, or to, like, or to maybe, as a deterrent for like Aaron to do something, or I don't know, because he's still got some power in him.
I mean, I feel like he already is acting in the film, though. Like, if
He definitely thinks for himself, but he hasn't done anything like in the way that like Aaron's like gone off and like done something.
But you could totally see him like freeing Annie, or if Annie comes about, like him just being like, "Umberto, it's me, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go."
I don't know. It just occurred to me. Like, I feel like we yet to see Armin at his like.
Well, he was always kind of the cleverest and yet the most kind of empathetic character.
Yeah.
And you seen. Sorry.
Two very relatable traits, I think. Sorry, Karen.
I mean, in the world of Attack on Titan, where everyone's war hungry and everything, someone like Armin does come across as very relatable. Compared to all the warriors,
No, definitely. Yeah, who knows anything with this show? There's 7 left. We're now in the second half of the season. So yeah, it's a lot going on. In the next like 2 months, we will know how it all ends. I guess if no one else has any more to add, we can rate the episodes. And
well, I was just going to say, what were our hopes and dreams for the season early on? Can you remember those? Because I feel like a lot of them have already been fulfilled.
I wanted it to be just anything but like a black and white, two sides of the same coin portrayal of war. Which definitely, my qualms have been put at rest with that, like, entirely.
Yeah.
Like, it's something which has provoked a lot of thought. About like what the actual subject matter is, and it's all, there's been a lot to like think about in that one. So I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to see some backstory of what had happened over the past 3 years, which we finally got this episode. I wanted to see some ODM fighting and to see Mikasa just tear some shit up, which we saw last episode.
She hasn't really tore anything up yet, though. Not like she did in the older seasons. Like,
well,
there was moments when they were like running on roof tiles. If you remember? Like, like almost died.
For me, I don't know if I had much, just wanting it to be interesting and subversive, which it has been, and it's got you now quite wanting it to go into big battles because they have taken their time and they've told quite a more sophisticated story in the final season. So now you're just like, okay, now I kind of want the carnage back. So I think that's all been quite effective. I mean, it's big. They can put a foot wrong in 5 minutes because it's the final season. One bad decision, one bad move that doesn't work with people, and they can fall apart. But at the moment, doesn't seem to be the case. What were you saying, Kieran?
I was just saying, I want to see some abnormals. I haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
Up, man. Like,
there's got to be a big fuck off battle. A big fuck off battle of every creature we've seen. Like, they have to do that. They have to, like, Avengers it a little bit.
Do the Titans break out of the walls?
Rumbling.
That is the question.
They've spoken about it so much, man. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. They'll just end the season with the walls intact. The walls have got to come down. They're good, like, you know what I mean? It's all about all of these people assimilating, that's what, and I think walls coming down is very that, and they built it up, and there's good reason, and there's no backstory for it, so I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Although the walls coming down signifies the end of the world in a lot of ways. It's a kind of apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're commanded. It's more like that. I feel like they're just let loose.
But Aaron can control the Titans, and that's another thing that's been spoken about. Like,
Yeah, but we've seen it when Aaron's in control, and he loves destruction. So will we have another Daenerys moment?
Yeah.
You know?
So many questions, eh? So many questions. What a show.
Yeah. Yeah, innit?
Well, yeah. Do we want to rate the last 2 episodes, starting with Sim?
Yeah. I'm gonna give it easy 10 or maybe a 9.
Both.
I'm gonna give the last episode a 10 and this episode a 9.
Okay.
They just had everything, you know.
Yeah.
The way they handled Sasha was really good. The way they merged the kind of the 2 storylines of the new characters, the old characters, was really satisfying, and still brings up all these new questions.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm hooked.
Lou?
Obviously the last episode was great. I give it a 9. Number 8, I give it a 9. This episode, very informative. But I live for the edge of the seat, and I wasn't just on the back of the seat chilling, so I'll give it an 8.
Okay, fair enough. Kieran?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Lou on that. But I'd probably bump it all up a notch. I'd give the last one a 10 and this one a 9. But yeah, this episode, I didn't quite. No one got smacked in the face, and the cliffhanger wasn't outrageous as it usually is. It's always a nice thing to have, but there's still smack. It's just like that extra excitement you get when you get left with the cliffhanger is something it's very nice to have when you don't get to binge it on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that general sentiment. I'll probably do what I believe it was Lou that said episode 8, 9, and episode 9 and 8, just not because it was bad, just because just less happened. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Keep smoking doobies, keep watching movies. Check out the page unadulterated.co.uk, unscripted, unedited, unadulterated. Like and subscribe to the page. Love and vibe every day. We'll be with you with Attack on Titan throughout the final season. Yeah, boy. Sesh.